If you're someone who loves classic television, then chances are you know all about Have Gun, Will Travel, and you're probably a hardcore fan of Paladin. But when you really think about it, you might realize you don't hear much about the man behind the character. So today, we're diving into the real story of what happened to Paladin from Have Gun, Will Travel. The world was lucky when a star like Richard Allen Boone was born on June 18, 1917, in Los Angeles. It's widely known that Boone's relationship with his father was pretty strained. As a teenager, he found himself at odds with his father's wish for him to pursue a career in law, to the point where resentment started growing between them. Boone, however, had a vision for something far greater than being a lawyer. It wasn't because he lacked ambition or drive, far from it. Boone was a diligent worker, but he was determined to make a lasting mark on the world, something he doubted he could achieve in a courtroom. His creative spirit showed itself early on. Though not in acting at first, Boone's original artistic passion was painting. At first, he tried to be the dutiful son and enrolled in Stanford University to study pre-law. But fate had other plans. The attack on Pearl Harbor set off a chain of events that led Boone to leave school and serve in the U.S. Navy during World War II. While you can hardly call Pearl Harbor a lucky break, it did steer Boone onto a different path. When the war ended after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Boone returned home, determined to stop living under others' expectations. This time, he was ready to chase his true passion, acting. Once he set his sights on Hollywood, Boone quickly realized that acting wasn't as glamorous or easy as it appeared. The grind was even tougher than studying law had been, but Boone's drive kept him pushing forward. His breakthrough finally came when he landed a supporting role in Call Me Mr. in 1951. Boone continued building his reputation with strong performances in films like Red Skies of Montana, 1952. His rugged features and intense approach caught the attention of both audiences and filmmakers. One of the pivotal moments in his early career was his role in Halls of Montezuma, 1951, which opened doors to even bigger opportunities. Unlike many actors who refused to step back into supporting roles once they hit it big, Boone was different. He juggled lead roles in smaller projects and secondary parts in major productions. Some in the industry mocked him for it, but time proved Boone right. Today, many of those critics have been forgotten, while Boone's legacy still lives on in the hearts of fans. With each new role, Boone built a reputation as a versatile and bankable actor. His relentless commitment to his craft earned him consistent work and eventually led him to television, just in time for the TV boom of the 1950s. Now here's a little history for you. The 1950s saw an explosion in television popularity, especially across the Western world. Boone seized the moment with his big TV break, Have Gun, Will Travel. What really cemented Boone's status as a television icon was his portrayal of the enigmatic Paladin. Mysterious and deeply layered, Paladin captured viewers' imaginations in ways few characters ever had. Before Have Gun, Will Travel, Boone had already made waves in television with Medic, a groundbreaking series where he played a hospital surgeon. The show broke new ground with its realistic depiction of medicine and real procedures. Boone's performance was so acclaimed that he earned 2 Emmy nominations, a testament to his skill. Fast forward to the late 50s, and Boone's career would reach its peak when he took on the role of Paladin, the philosophical hired gun of the post-Civil War West. Have Gun, Will Travel wasn't just popular, it became a cultural phenomenon. Imagine a man in the Wild West offering his services for a fee of $1,000. It was bound to captivate audiences. The show wasn't just another Western, it was packed with depth, sophistication, and action. Plus, several episodes were directed by Gene Roddenberry. Yes, the same genius who would later create Star Trek. Paladin was no ordinary gunslinger. He lived in luxury at a swanky San Francisco hotel, dressed in stylish riverboat gambler outfits, complete with a top hat. His calling card famously read, Have gun, will travel, reflecting his unique blend of honor and professional pride. What set Paladin apart wasn't just his quick draw or black Stetson hat. It was his sharp mind and moral code. Though he was armed, Paladin preferred to outthink his adversaries rather than outshoot them. His style, intellect, and strong sense of right and wrong made him unforgettable. One of the enduring mysteries about Paladin was his true identity. In the show, and even in the novels, his real name was never fully revealed. He was sometimes referred to as Clay Alexander, but the full truth remained elusive. The very name, Paladin, is rooted in European tradition, meaning a knight or champion dedicated to noble causes. A perfect title for a mercenary with a noble heart and a warrior's past. Paladin and his loyal sidekick embarked on wild adventures across 224 episodes filled with suspense and excitement. Have Gun, Will Travel became a timeless classic, winning over audiences while keeping Paladin's true identity shrouded in mystery. Interestingly, there's a long-standing rumor that Richard Boone's portrayal of Paladin might have been inspired by a real-life cowboy legend named Victor da Costa. According to the story, da Costa also used the alias Paladin during his time on the rodeo circuit, well before the TV show ever aired. Adding fuel to the rumor, da Costa famously carried sleek business cards and wore a sharp all-black wardrobe, eerily similar to Paladin's signature look. The similarities were enough for da Costa to take legal action against CBS, claiming the network had stolen his style and persona without his permission. The resulting lawsuit dragged on for years before a settlement was finally reached. Another notable aspect of Have Gun, Will Travel, was its portrayal of Chinese characters like Hey Boy and briefly Hey Girl. If the show had premiered today, these portrayals might have sparked controversy. However, at the time, it largely went unnoticed. As the series progressed, Hey Boy, played by Kam Tong, was eventually given a real name, Kim Chang, along with a richer backstory and a family, marking a small but meaningful step forward in representation. Paladin himself stood out because he wasn't just another stereotypical cowboy. He was adaptable, able to embrace different cultures and situations like flowing water. One memorable, unconventional moment came when Paladin showcased his skills in martial arts, specifically Kung Fu, an impressive and progressive choice that broke from typical Western stereotypes. The show was also pioneering in its portrayal of Native Americans, moving away from the usual depiction of them as savage villains and offering a more respectful and humanized view. Have Gun, Will Travel was so beloved that it even spawned a radio spin-off. John Denner, a familiar face from Western TV and The Twilight Zone, voiced Paladin in the radio version, which ran from 1958 to 1960. Producing a total of 106 episodes. The radio series was well received, earning 3 Emmy nominations and a Writers Guild of America award for Best Original Script in 1957. The show's music was just as iconic. Bernard Herrmann composed The Ballad of Paladin, a tune so catchy it said that if you hear it once, you're almost certain to get hooked. Fun fact, the opening theme wasn't entirely original. It was borrowed from a 1951 film score but gained a new life thanks to Paladin's popularity. Imagine this, a hip-hop version of The Ballad of Paladin featuring a legendary rapper. That was exactly the buzz in 2006 when rumors swirled that Eminem was considering reworking the theme. Fans were thrilled at the idea, even though it ultimately never materialized. Unfortunately, every great story must end. When Have Gun, Will Travel aired its final episode, it wasn't just the character of Paladin that fans mourned. It was the treatment of Richard Boone himself that left a sour taste. Boone didn't even hear about the show's cancellation through friends or colleagues. Instead, he found out by reading about it in the papers. This disrespect deeply hurt Boone, who realized that, to the industry, he was merely a moneymaker rather than a valued artist. This disillusionment led him to walk away from Hollywood entirely. 3 years later, in an interview with the Los Angeles Times, Boone opened up about his struggles. He spoke candidly about the difficulty of maintaining creative integrity amid the television industry's obsession with glamour and commercialization. Seeking peace, Boone relocated with his third wife, Claire McAloon, and their son to the serene shores of Hawaii. The move marked a complete departure from his Hollywood life, allowing him to focus on what mattered most. Many believe it wasn't just the end of Paladin that pushed him away, but rather the cancellation of his later project, The Richard Boone Show, that finally closed the chapter on his career. In the end, Boone found solace far from the spotlight, choosing authenticity over fame, and leaving behind a legacy of one of television's most unforgettable characters.